This video is going to be about flex boxes. Flex boxes are a relatively new idea in HTML and CSS. It's a way to organize information kind of in a table, but with a little bit more options. I guess there are a few more options for designing and adding design features to the items. So let's talk about flex boxes. First of all, I've added a couple images, or an image and some text, to my Elk Lake page. So I've added an image of Elk Lake. I have an attribute for the image because I got the image from TripAdvisor. And then I have a little bit of text. So if I look at my Elk Lake page right now, this is what it looks like. Here's my image, there's the attribute, and that's a little bit of information. I want to change this. I want to put this in a flex box so that the image is on one side and then this text that's describing the image, I would like that to be over here on the right-hand side of the image. So I'm going to put this in a flex box. And to do that, we're going to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to put all of this content into a container, and we call that container a div. A div is literally just a tag that contains all of this information. And if we contain all of this information in one div, in one tag, we can style it together. So all of this information inside of this div will be styled together. So I'm going to indent this to make it clear that all of this information is in this one div tag. It's all in this same container. Next thing I'm going to do is break up the content so that each part also has its own container. So for example, the image and the attribute will go in one container, and the text, the informational text, will go in a separate container, a separate div. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to open and close a div here and create some space. I'm going to cut the image and the attribute, so I'm going to highlight all of this and Command X. And then I'm going to make sure I'm indented here, and I will hit Command V to paste it. So notice my P tag kind of got unindented, so I'll just fix that. That way I can see this vertical line very clearly. Here's where the div opens, this is where the div ends, and all of the content is inside of that. All right, I will do the same thing now for my text, for my information. I'm going to create another div, another container that will hold my P tag, my information. So I will highlight this. I'm going to cut that information out of there and paste this in. Okay, before I start adding anything else, I'm going to add some comments. This is my image flex box. All right, so here's my flex box. If I go back to my website here and I refresh, nothing has changed. All I have done is put those things in a container so that now I can style these containers. Okay, first of all, my outermost div, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call this my Lake Flex. You can call it whatever you want, but because I'm working with lakes, I'm calling it my Lake Flex. This is my flex box for the lakes that I'm using. And the reason I'm doing this generically, I'm not saying Elk Lake, is because I want to use this div, this class, this styling for all of my flex boxes on every page. Okay, so I'm calling it my Lake Flex. For my image then, I will also give it a name, and I will call this my Lake Image. Makes sense, that's the div that contains the image. And then for this one, I will call it my Lake Info, so I can style the information. Okay, that's all we need to do here in HTML. I'm going to get rid of this space just to make sure everything is kind of cleaned up. Create a little bit of space between those containers and the body. Now it's time to go to the CSS and style this thing. So I'm going to move that below my navbar styling because this is information that comes just below the navbar. And I'm going to put some comments. I'm going to say begin styling Lake Flexbox. And I will end styling Lake Flexbox. All right, so now in between here is where I will add all of my styling. First things first, I'm going to style the large div, the large container that contains everything. So the Lake Flex. This holds all of the information inside of my Flexbox. And I'm only going to do two things here. First of all, I'm going to tell the computer that this is going to be a Flexbox. So I'm going to say the display type is Flex. And the second thing, you don't have to do this here, but I would like to, especially for my text, I want to align my items. I want to center everything. And by aligning them, that's not only going to center left and right, we'll center top and bottom as well. Let's take a look at what happened. Okay, it's starting to work. It put this Elk Lake information in a separate section, so it's side by side like I wanted. It created flex boxes, one for each div. But notice there's a couple things. First of all, this attribute is too large. These words are way too close to the image. I'd kind of like my image to take up a little more space. Let's add a little more styling. But that was good. That put those two things side by side and centered the text. Okay, let's look at the image. I thought it was just a little too small. So I'm going to say in my div called Lake Image, I want to focus on the image only for this styling. So something a little bit new. I'm saying within that div called Lake Image, let's focus on just the image itself. Okay, what I want to do is enlarge it. So I'm going to increase the width by 20%. So I want to make it 120% of what it normally was. And for the height, I just want the height to go along with it. I want to keep the aspect ratio so it doesn't look stretched out. So I'm saying make the width larger and let the height just kind of go along with it so it will look good still. So if I refresh, that will enlarge my image. That's pretty good. You could do that a little bit more if you wanted, but 120% works for me for now. Okay, let's style that attribute. So inside of the Lake Image div, I want to focus on that P tag now. The P tag is what holds the attribute. I want that attribute to not have a space, because right now you can see there's a big space in between the text and the photo. I want to take out that space. So I'm going to say from the top, so the top margin, I want to make that margin have 0 pixels, and I also want to make the text smaller. So I'm going to make the font size just be 8 pixels. Okay, let's refresh that. Let's see how that looks. That's good. That shrunk it up. You can still read it to give attribute, and it also put that text much closer to the image. So that's pretty good. Okay, the last thing I want to do now is just style this lake info. I'm going to make this just a little larger, and I want a little bit more space between the photo and the text itself. So the last thing we'll do then is on the lake info, there's only one thing in that, so I don't need to specify which part of that lake info. All we have is a P tag in there. So in that lake info, I want to change the padding left to be 10% away from that image, and let's change the font size to be, let's try 12 pixels. Let's just see what that looks like. Make it just a little larger. Oh, that was smaller, but the 10%. So let's make this 20 pixels. Okay, let's try that. Not bad. Now we have our flex box. We've got text on the right side. We've got the image on the left, we have the attribute, everything is in separate containers so we can style them all separately.